All right. Good evening again.
Good evening.
Mumonkan, number 19. Ordinary mind is Tao. So what do I usual drill? I will read it. I read the koan, the commentary, and the poem. Then I'll read it one more time with my editorial gloss. And then I will shut up and we'll have a conversation about it. Joshua once asked Nansen, "What is Tao?" Nansen answered, "Ordinary mind is Tao." "Then should we direct ourselves towards it or not?" asked Joshua. "If you try to direct yourself towards it, you go away from it," answered Nansen. Joshua continued, "If we do not try, how can we know that it is Tao?" Nansen replied, "Tao does not belong to knowing or to not knowing. Knowing is illusion, not knowing is blankness. If you really attain to Tao of no doubt, it is like the great void, so vast and boundless. How then can there be right and wrong in the Tao?" At these words, Joshua was suddenly enlightened. So the commentary. Questioned by Joshua, Nansen immediately shows that the tile is disintegrating, the ice is dissolving, and no communication whatsoever is possible. Even though Joshua may be enlightened, he can truly get it only after studying for 30 more years. The poem. Hundreds of flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, and snow in winter. If there is no vain cloud in your mind, for you, it is a good day, a good season, I should say. So there you have it. Ordinary mind, that's it. Go home. All right, so here we go. Joshua asked Nansen. Joshua and Nansen, we met these guys before. Nansen was the abbot who threatened to, and then maybe did cut a cat in two. And Joshua was his student and came along later. And when he figured out what had happened, he put his sandal on his head and he walked away. Joshua shows up a lot, as does Nansen, two of the favorite characters in all of these carbon collections. This one apparently is a story when Joshua was a young monastic. So he had just given up everything and come to live at Nansen's monastery. And so the context for this is Joshua has decided his life's purpose is finding truth, living truth, being truth. That's what his life's about. And so he asks Nansen, who's the teacher, who he has found singled out among all of the teachers, to come to this guy because this is the one he thinks gets it. This is the one that's the best fit for him. He says, "What is Tao?" And that's it. What is Buddha nature? What's the truth? Why did Bodhidharma come from the West? Nansen answered, "Ordinary mind is Tao." What? Come all this way and this is it? So Joshua's persistent. He wants to know what's going on. Then should we direct ourselves towards it or not? Asked Joshua. Should we make an effort and look for it and find it? And Nansen answers, if you try to direct yourself toward it, you go away from it. This reminds me very much of the last few lines of the Sandakar, which is a famous Zen poem. If you do not see it, you do not see it even as you walk on it. When you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far. If you're deluded, you are mountains and rivers away from it. I respectfully say to those who wish to be enlightened, do not waste your time by night or day. If you do not see it, you do not see it even as you walk on it. To see it, in Zen language again, to to bring discernment, to bring discrimination into this. One instant of discrimination opens up the gap between heaven and earth. If we do not try, how can we know that it is Tao? I respectfully say to those who wish to be enlightened, do not waste your time by night or day. You have to try. But what does that really mean? Nansen replied, Tao does not belong to knowing or to not knowing. Knowing is illusion. All of this is illusion. Everything we think we know is an illusion. Every single conditioned thing, which is everything but awakened mind itself, everything that is conditioned is an illusion. Because it's not, we're not seeing what it really is. By definition, when we see things, we are mistaken. There are no things. And yet, not knowing is blankness. There's another one of these koans. It's about thinking, non-thinking. And it's really making the point. Thinking, non-thinking is not thinking, and it is not thinking. It is thinking, non-thinking. In the Zen tradition, shikantaza means just sitting. And that's kind of the aspiration, the incomprehensible aspiration that nobody understands. Just sitting. In Theravada Buddhism, there's the story of Bahia, which we've talked about before, where Bahia ends up going to the Buddha and he says, help me, help me. And the reasons why he has to ask 3 times, on the 3rd time, Buddha says, okay, well, when there is seeing, there is just seeing. When there is hearing, there is just hearing. When there is sensing, there is just sensing. If this is what's going on, then you are not here, you are not there, and you are not in between. There's no you in this, there's no here, there's no there, there is no in between. There's just hearing, there's just seeing. This, just this, is the middle way. Knowing is illusion, not knowing is blankness. If you really attain to Tao of no doubt, it is like the great void, so vast and boundless. We go back to the very beginning of this book. The commentary on the first koan, Joshu's Moon. In studying Zen, one must pass the barriers set up by the ancient Zen masters. For the attainment of incomparable satori, one has to cast away discriminating mind. Those who have not passed the barrier and have not cast away the discriminating mind are all phantoms haunting trees and plants. This is less than a page. This commentary on the first koan is one of the most direct and clearest and most powerful Zen Buddhist expositions I've ever come across. It's amazing, simply amazing. Now tell me, what is this barrier of the Zen masters? And it goes on. Cast away your illusory discriminating mind and consciousness, etc., etc. It is like the great void, so vast and boundless. Ordinary mind is Tao. Ordinary mind is the way. But you're awake, you just don't know it. You have to know it. Ordinary mind, seen clearly, seen properly, is the way. Ordinary mind, seen with discrimination, seen through the eyes of delusion, is illusion, is a mistake, leads to suffering. You have to break through the barrier. You have to break through the barrier, which is to drop into the great void, so vast and boundless. Is to have, I can't find it here, but incomparable satori is called somewhere in here. I think it's in this opening passage. Satori is this powerful awakening moment. So Zen practice nowadays is described as being the Rinzai school, which is the school of sudden awakening, and the Soto school, which is the school of gradual awakening. In Rinzai, then you get your koan, which is what we're reading here, and you sit with the koan, and the intensity and focus of sitting with a koan takes to these moments of breakthrough, these moments of insight. Oh, drops away. I get it. And the practice of Soto Zen, none of those toys, just sitting. And the idea is that just wears it away. And there are these little moments, these little spikes where you drop just a little bit, and then you drop just a little bit more, and years. And gradually it wears away, like water on a rock. And gradually it wears away this groove, and it takes down to these really gentle, deep awakenings. But in the ancient traditions, Ji is the person who I think this probably goes back to. He was an amazing Chinese teacher and writer in the 6th century, I believe. And he talks of sudden realization followed by gradual cultivation. And we'll come back to that in a minute. Sudden realization followed by gradual cultivation. You have to have that sudden realization. You have to have these powerful insights, direct experiences of just dropping off body-mind, as Dokan called it. Or as Huineng experienced it, awakening the mind, not dwelling, which is a line from the Lotus Sutra. He heard that, and the bottom dropped out. And there are the stories in the koans of the bottom dropping out of the bucket. The moon reflected in the water in the bucket, and then the bottom drops out. How then can there be right and wrong in the Tao? The great way, the great Tao, the great way is not difficult. Just avoid picking and choosing. Another famous Zen poem, Xing Xing Ming. Just avoid picking and choosing. Just this, avoiding picking and choosing, is recognizing there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no good, there is no bad. Those are discriminations we lay over the top. And if we avoid picking and choosing, the great way is not difficult. Can you just decide to avoid picking and choosing? Kind of tough. You're going to break through the barrier. These words, Joshua was suddenly enlightened. That's the nature of the way these conversations work, the nature of the way koans work. They're these pithy exchanges, and they're called the turning words. They turn somebody inwards and let them see clearly. These sometimes in Zen, it's a door being slammed on someone's foot, or a slap around the face, or a shout, "Quats!" which is what Masu used to do. And these words, Joshua was suddenly enlightened, so he had this deep Kensho or Satori experience. He broke through the barrier, and he saw, just this ordinary mind. He saw ordinary mind clearly and realized just this is it. I am not it, it is now me. Just this. So the commentary. Questioned by Joshua, Nansen immediately shows that the tile is disintegrating, the ice is dissolving, and no communication whatsoever is possible. What the heck? This is probably what's the clearest, maybe it's just that I'm realizing these things myself now, but this is the clearest example to me of where Mumonkan, or whoever writes the commentary on these koans, because there's other koan collections of people who do the same thing, is at once profoundly praising Nansen and also telling us to disregard it. Because words can't get you there. So this is once saying that the tile is dissolving, the tile is disintegrating, the ice is dissolving, etc. Communication is impossible. Nansen's answers to Joshua can't tell him the truth. He's got to see it for himself. And words always run the risk of trapping us in intellectual thinking, trapping us in discrimination. But there's the other side of it is the way the words are working, the tile is discriminating, it's disintegrating. What's disintegrating? The ice is dissolving and communication is not possible. The words are actually showing this, and so in that sense, they are helping. Even though Joshua may be enlightened, but these words Joshua was suddenly enlightened. Even though Joshua may be enlightened, he can truly get it only after studying for 30 more years. Sudden realization, gradual cultivation. And I really, that sudden realization, gradual cultivation. This ordinary mind really is it. It's all right here. It's all right here. We just have to realize it. And that sudden insight can give us a glimpse, can show us that truth, but then we really have to come into it and live in that and truly be here. Without discrimination, seeing things as it is, and sticking your hand towards it. And that doesn't happen overnight. Have these profound awakening experiences, and then it has to ripen and mature and be worked and be polished. The poem. Hundreds of flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, cool breeze in summer and snow in winter. Ordinary mind. It's just the world as it is. When I'm hungry, I eat. When I'm tired, I sleep. It's just things as it is. Just ordinary mind. If there is no vain cloud in your mind, no ego, no delusion, no illusion, no discrimination. If you've broken through the barrier, if there is no vain cloud in your mind, for you, it is a good season. There's another koan, which is, can't remember the koan, it's a short one, but the punchline is, it's just a question and answer. I can't remember the question, to be honest. What is an appropriate response, I think is the question, but it's a very simple one. And the answer is, every day is a good day. That's it. Every day is a good day. Done. Somebody heard that, was asked to comment on it, and they added regardless, which to me is it's just a wince, because the regardless actually does exactly the opposite. It starts discriminating. It shows a place of discrimination. Every day is a good day. And to see that really is, on the one hand, that is ordinary mind. To see, to live every day as a good day. But to truly live every day as a good day, you have to have broken through the barrier to see that, and then you can come back and live that. And it's like looking at a rug. You look at all the fur coming up on the rug, all the hairs, tied with a Turkish or a Persian rug, all the fur, all the wool or the silk. And then you turn it over and you see the knots. You actually got to see it. You've got to have that breakthrough experience and really see it. And then you can come back and you can really see what that rug is and how beautiful it is. And you can really live as an ordinary rug.